alone, and not those of Vic Canellis Media Group, its parent, affiliates, or stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Welcome to Making Money with Laura Sanders, a name you can trust. With over 20 years of real estate experience and selling over 150 homes a year, Laura Sanders is the #1 RE/MAX agent in the state of Florida for 2021. Join us each week as we discuss how to make money through buying and flipping homes, to renting versus selling, and everything in between. To join the conversation, call in live 888-994-4995, Studio A.
Hi everyone, welcome to Making Money with Laura Sanders, and I am your host, Laura Sanders. Every week we talk about something to help you make a little money, save a little money, or maybe just help you navigate this crazy world. Today we're going to talk about homeownership, the American dream, and we're going to talk about some things that when selling your house for the American dream, where I can show proven track records of if you spend a certain amount of money, what does it bring back to you? And with me today is Freddie. Welcome, Freddie.
Thank you. Thank you. Excited to be here.
No.
Excited about the conversation we had before we went on the air.
Yeah, we already started really talking about it already. So
it's an amazing phenomenon right now.
Yeah. So in the audience, we have people that do want to buy a house and are talking about the American dream. You know, I guess he's talking about how his parents, immigrated here and that they have never owned, and so he would love to own. And, listen, I always say owning a home is a catch-22, right? And there's a whole bunch of different ways about how people look at home ownership. So I definitely believe in home ownership to build wealth. And then I'm seeing a new trend where after you build the wealth with the home, you sell the home, you go and rent, and take the money that you made on the home and invest it to do other things for you. And that's definitely a new phenomenon that I'm seeing coming out. So
people actually, because of the market going as bizarre as it has gone, remember that market at one time when I was young was at 2,000 on the clicker. Now it's at 48,000, 49,000. Can you imagine the money invested if you had just left it in there? It would be tremendous.
Yeah, so in fact I decided to add to my stream of things that I do. I am deciding to go back and get my Series 7.
Oh, I had that. Oof.
Yeah.
Tough test.
Well, I get really excited about money and how it works. So when you say, put it there, leave it there, right? It's funny because I don't know if anybody's heard the news. RE/MAX is being sold. Mm-hmm. It's big on the news right now. Brielle is, a tech company, real estate company that is now is buying actually RE/MAX for $880 million. Wow. So could you imagine that you are the creator in the 1980s of RE/MAX? Would you ever have thought that you would create a business worth $880 million? Now, Dave Liniger, the owner of RE/MAX, is in his 80s, and it's time to step down and let new blood take over. And I just, they talk about Brielle. This is the company that's buying us. They talk about how they are like a company that you can do revenue sharing. But unfortunately, the model for RE/MAX doesn't work well with that. So in order to maintain how RE/MAX already runs their business, that will not be an option for the RE/MAX agents. So, but the thing is, and the broker made a very good point this morning. We had a meeting this morning. The point that he made is that we should be taking our money that we would, if we would give more of a split to the brokerage, take that money invested in the S&P 500 into Vanguard, whatever it might be. And I'm not telling you specific places to invest, but so the power of all of that truly excites me, and I love to share that with people. And think about, I think I talked on another show about a friend of mine who retired, worked for from 18 to 70 in the same job, and in the end had $200,000 in retirement. Like that's horrible. That's not good. So if you think that's good and that sounds like a lot of money to you, let's talk about. And I always find it interesting to get into conversations with people. I don't talk politics, but I love to talk money. And I don't think that that should be anything that, and my daughter is having a baby, and I was at the baby shower, and I was talking to some girls, and I had a really good conversation with one girl, and I asked, and was talking with two, and I said, well, what do you think's a lot of money? I think that's just an interesting conversation to ask people, like, what do you think is a lot of money? So we have somebody in the audience right now, like, what do you think's a lot of money?
What do you think is a lot of money, Mr. Gato?
$1 million.
So do you feel that you could retire off of $1 million?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
So how do you determine, right? How do you determine what you know? So we go back to like the American dream, which is buying a house. Everybody, most everybody, never say everybody, but most everybody wants to own a house.
True.
And what I can tell you is this. After doing this for 26 years plus, clients that I've had that have bought in for $179,000, $250,000, $300,000, and now their properties are worth $700,000, $800,000. That's a lot of money, right? And back when my grandparents, for my parents, they lived there for 30 years. That was their retirement. That is not the only thing you can do today in order to be able to retire.
Well, let me ask, do you buy a house because it's the American dream and you want to own a house? Or do you buy a house because in the future you can levy that house and buy either more properties or invest the difference or do a multiple of things?
Right.
So your philosophy going in, I think, is important.
Absolutely. So let's look at that for a second. Let's try to break this down. I've had people call me before who are renters, and they say to me, I want to buy X house. And when we get over everything and we say, it's going to cost you $600 more than what you're paying in rent, but remember, some of that is going towards principal, right, where rent is going towards nothing, right? You also, I'm not a tax accountant, let me just make that very clear, and the tax laws have changed a lot lately, but you are able to write certain things off on your taxes,
yes,
right? So that's another benefit. So even though it might be costing you a little more than renting, in the long run, what you need to be doing is building equity. So then you will have something of value. And then it's okay to go back to renting again, in my opinion. Now, the information given to different people is different for different people.
Yes.
Every person's going to be in a different spot. They're going to be, like if you're like 85 years old and you have a bunch of rentals and you're not in good health, why do you need those rentals?
True that. You're in the
Sell
short
'em.
game, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
But I'll give you a perfect example. I have a friend that I met when I'm still a licensed psychotherapist. When I worked for a nonprofit organization, and one of the girls said, oh, well, I want to buy investment properties. And I was like, okay. I found her the perfect deal, short sale. I negotiated for her. She got an amazing deal. She paid, I want to say $92,000 for a 3-2 one-car garage townhouse. And now it's worth about $365,000. So she owes about $20,000 on it. And the tenant that's been there said, I'm leaving. And I said to her, here's your options. You're going to need to fix it up for another tenant, and then they could wreck it again. Or you can fix it up, and we can sell it, and then you're going to have somewhere in the neighborhood of $300 and something thousand. But you're going to need to pay taxes on the capital gains. So this is what you're going to have left. So she's 40, at this time she's 40, I want to say she's 45, 46. I said, so she was a therapist for the school board. I said, so if you retire at 65 and you put that money and let it just compound, and I asked ChatGPT, okay, based on what happened in the past, if we were to put this into Blue Cap and let it multiply, by the time she's 65, how much money will she have? And it was some crazy number, and I said, well, this property will never be worth this. At most, $500, $525, and she's gonna have to get a new roof, and she's gonna have assessments, and So I said, but she owns another property, and that one she owes about 100 and something thousand on it. And I said, this one you don't sell, because she's only 45 years old. I said, this one you let the people that are living there pay your mortgage, because you're building it. You know, 20,000, it wasn't really worth it, right? It's better just to pay it off and move it on. But 150,000 makes total sense.
Yeah.
To let people continue to pay her mortgage and create cash for her. So when that's done and paid, then she can take that and put that. And this is somebody that, you know, has a very, you know, basic income that is very hard to retire once you go to retire based on Social Security. But based on what we did for her in her 30s, has created something for her magical for her 60s. And that is what I offer. And I sit down and I find myself to be like a guidance person to show you, you know, what you can do. It's a little harder today to do what we did then because prices are higher, but it is feasible.
You have to have creative financing, but you know, knowledge is the power. So I remember when my parents always said to me, "You're gonna buy a house." And I go, yes. I was the first. I bought my house for $112,000 in Pelham Bay in the Bronx. And I knew that house was going, I sold it for $1 million.
It's worth more than that now, right?
It's worth more than that, much more.
Two?
At least. But the funny thing is that because the house was smaller and they needed a new roof and needed this and that. So what I did was I created my own crew to fix houses because I took the leverage off that house and bought another house. And took the leverage off that house and bought another house. You got to be careful because it's a card of debt. So if one goes down, they all go down. You have to keep maintaining the properties. So I used to sell them to the tenants. And I made all sorts of deals. I was so creative, man. I was like the magician.
He was selling houses 2 and 3 times.
I was selling houses.
They're like, you're not paying?
And then I would sell condo units. It was crazy.
What's the guy's name again from Sopranos? Tony.
But the object of the game, what you're talking about, and then I got my Series 7, forget about it. Everything went a different way. There's a lot of different ways.
I want to do both. I mean, listen, real estate is my passion. That's what I do. But I feel like, and I'm not looking to do that on like a big thing, but I want to help people like yourself. I want to show young people the power of $25 invested. You know, $50 a month, $100 a month. I want to see people get as excited as I am when it comes down to it. And I just think that that's, you know.
It's the way of the future.
Yeah, but people, how much, I don't even drink coffee, so how much is a Starbucks coffee?
I don't know because I would never pay it.
Is it $10?
Well, I mean, normal people probably pay around $13. Like a simple order is like $9 to $10.
Okay, and like, I don't know, have you ever drank it out of those little pods that go into the...
Personally, no, but we have them. Yeah.
But they're Starbucks ones? Yeah. Do they taste like Starbucks?
They're very strong.
But Starbucks is strong, I've heard. I don't drink coffee. I've heard the comparison between Dunkin' and Starbucks is very strong, but clearly very loved, right?
Because it's the
But I'm a Diet Coke girl, so if you all want to send me some gifts, Diet Coke works for me. I'll take a case anytime. In fact, I was just watching something called Hacks with on HBO, and the lady actually has a fountain soda thing in her kitchen. I'm like, that's me. I need that. So I would love to put that right in my bar area. That would be awesome. Get my Diet Coke every day.
Get those little like pump ones.
Laura, I had a property that I used to take the percentage, the positive, and I used to pump it into something called the variable life insurance policy.
Okay.
And variable life was like a stock
It's like whole life, right?
It was whole life and then some. It used to work on the stock market.
Yes.
But it was protected because it was life insurance.
Right.
I'm going to tell you.
I have that.
I'm going to tell you. Back then in the day, those policies were at, I don't know, 18,000 on the clicker. And you look at it now, you will be a self-made millionaire. 20 years if you held on to that. If you bought a policy from me and you have it, you're a millionaire, a multi-millionaire. Because it was the properties that was putting the money in for the policy, not out of my pocket. Because there's a lot of different things you can do.
Right. Well,
that's what the Series 7 will do for you.
Yeah, I'm excited. I need some change in my life, like a little extra something that I
The
feel like-
challenges?
I need some challenges, and I just want to share the things that I find so exciting to make money. So, I think it's just, transitioning in your life. I'm not stopping doing real estate. Nope. We're gonna go to commercial break, and when we come back, I'm gonna tell you about a property that I put on the market, had some damage. We fixed the damage. And I'm going to tell you how much more money we made the owner. I mean, phenomenal, crazy, nuts. So stay tuned and we'll be right back.
All roads lead home with Fairway Home Mortgage. When it comes to home financing, who you work with matters. At Fairway Home Mortgage, we combine the strength of a national lender with the care and accessibility of local mortgage experts. We offer a wide range of home financing solutions, personalized guidance, and a streamlined process designed to keep things simple, from application to closing. Because at Fairway, home isn't just what we finance, it's what drives everything we do. Connect with Cliff Bernstein, Branch Manager, NMLS number 7853 at 561-213-6852 to see what your options are today. Company NMLS number 2289. This is not an offer to enter into an agreement. Not all customers will qualify. Subject to underwriting approval, other terms and conditions may apply. Equal housing opportunity. Loan officer NMLS number 7853.
At JK Closing Attorneys, we do all of the same things that a title company does, but with the benefits of being a law office. We can help with residential real estate, short sales, commercial real estate, refinances, 1031 exchanges, and FRIPTA withholding.
Contact JK Closing Attorneys today at 954-332-3111. Again, that is 954-332-3111.
Priority One Credit Union of Florida is a welcoming credit union that makes your financial success our number one priority. We offer lower loan rates, higher deposit rates, and common sense local loan approvals, with nationwide access through shared branching.
Hi, I'm Dina Hennessy, President and CEO at Priority One Credit Union. We are open to the community. Anyone can be a member of our credit union, and we would love to have you.
Contact us today at 954-335-5100. You can also reach us at PriorityOneFL.org. Your financial success is our priority. That's 954-335-5100.
You have been watching Making Money with Laura. For more information, contact Laura Sanders at 954-650-0827 or visit her website at theloracell.com. And now back to the show.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Making Money with Laura Sanders, and I am your host, Laura Sanders. And today we're here with Freddie. We're talking about the dream of home ownership and also talking about what can sometimes somebody realize as a return on an investment when going to sell a house. People ask me all the time, if I put in X dollars, how much money will I see back? Well, perfect thing happened recently for me. I listed a property for $625,000. The floors were damaged in the living and dining room, very damaged. They were wood floors, they were popping up. And by the way, the owner said, I don't want to do anything. We're doing nothing. You sell it as is, the way that it is. Okay, I don't like to argue. I mean, I do, but I don't. And then there was no flooring in the bedrooms, and there was apparently a leak where they cut out the floor, the tile, looked horrific. So you saw the concrete where this plumbing company cut out the floor. So I took the listing as is. I had 65 showings. That does not include open houses, where probably another 20-something people came through. And I got one offer for $500, and I got another offer for $600 with 6% back in closing costs. So it's $36,000. So that brought you somewhere around $554. So after all these showings, after not getting any good offers, I took it upon myself to send my flooring guy out there. My flooring guy went out, gave me a quote of $8,000 to put carpet in the bedrooms, pull up the wood floors, put new laminate floors down. Unfortunately, yes, we went from real wood to laminate. And he fixed the tile where it was cut out. So I then took the property off the market. I had it listed for $625. I took it off the market. We spent $8. I put it back for $650. What do you think the offers were?
About $650.
I had multiple offers for $650.
Wow.
So, $8,000 spent. Realistically, the highest offer I could have gotten was $554. So here we are at $650. So $8,000 spent. That's like $80,000 in profits from spending $8,000.
That's a good turn.
Yeah. So one of the things I pride myself on is going in, making sure your home looks the best it possibly can. But I love the fact that, and it did cost me more money because I had to go back and do pictures again, and it was more time, but I love the fact that this happened, because it's really like a case study to prove to people that people want stuff done for them.
Yeah.
When people say to me, well, they can paint it themselves, but they can't see past all the marks and the dirt.
True.
You know, so I have another guy right now. He's got a condo that I'm getting ready to put on the market. It is disgusting, yellow, like gross. $1,400, my guy's going to go in and paint it. It's an efficiency. It's going to make a huge difference. It's going to actually sell. So
it makes a difference.
If you're looking for a realtor, Laura Sanders, Remax Direct.
That's true. I got to tell you, it's the experience that you don't understand what you're buying into when you deal with somebody like Laura. There was, when we were selling the house in Beaucaire, Dawn and Chuck gave me a painter, so I had him paint the grills around the windows.
Okay.
What a difference.
Oh, yeah.
The house lights up. I had the back porch screens painted. I did some of them myself. And then I had the ceilings painted on the outside.
Yeah. Why do people not do this while they live there?
I didn't do it while I lived there. That's right. And the funny thing is, I got the number and then some.
I have a listing coming up where I walked into the lady's house, and she has this beautiful view. It's like amazing. And then in the middle is like these old vertical blinds, and you're looking in, and she smoked, so they're like yellowy. I'm like, these need to come down, and we're gonna go all the way up to 102 feet, and we're gonna put drapes up. So I said to her, send me a picture of the drapes. And she sends me, she goes, I wish I had done this sooner. Like people, I go in and I do things to people's homes, and even when I go in, I go, damn, this looks good. And I always tell them, when I'm done, you can't stay. You gotta go. Yeah. So.
Can't turn any more yellow.
Yeah.
Do you believe that the house should be all white?
It depends on the house.
Or do you want the feel of somebody living there?
Okay, so being white does not give you the feel of somebody living there, right?
Well, it looks like a hospital sometimes.
No, it does not. First of all, we don't use regular just white. A lot of time, no, it's called Decorator's White by by Benjamin Moore.
Decorator.
It's got a hint of gray and a hint of blue in it. Mm-hmm. It looks phenomenal, but that is not the catch-all, be-all for every single listing. For instance, like my house has marble floors that have a little bit of a yellow tint to them. I don't really like them, but you can't really put white up against it. It won't look right. Mm-hmm. So something like that might be a canvas tan, or it might be a China doll, and that's the thing. Like understanding, like I had a young kid who I sold his over $1 million house for him, and I was like, listen, he had plaster faux, and like, you remember when they used to take the sponge?
Yes.
So I was like, we need to paint this and it needs to be white. He's like, white? That's gonna look horrible. Let me tell you, when I was done, he was like, oh, this looks really good.
So a house is a little old-fashioned.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a bad thing? Do you have to make it new-fashioned to sell it?
No, I sell old-fashioned homes all the time.
Okay, so all of these, because everybody has an opinion.
Right.
Oh, you gotta change it, this is old-fashioned, this is the 60s. But from my experience, I've seen it and it's worked. Because people like the property, they like where it's zoned, they like the house, they like that. And I wasn't going to spend all that money on changing old-fashioned to new-fashioned because it can be expensive.
It's funny, I have another property that I just put under contract in 2 days. One of the things I'd utilize is called Coming Soon. So as soon as it went active, people were like, I need to see this house. And I had multiple people living in the community. You're crazy, you're not going to get that. They had impact windows. They had modern flooring throughout. And these were older people. Like, they did this house. This house was perfect. And she was like, worried, what, is something gonna, I'm, your house is great. Like, your house is amazing. Like, you know, I made her change her bedspread because it was like, it was so dreary, and then it brightened it up, and I was like, oh, this, you could see the difference. And I know people are like, it's a bedspread, they're not buying your bedspread. You're buying a feeling. You're buying a feeling.
Mm-hmm. I understood that a lot just recently when we went to Brielle, because she asked this question that was like, are you a visual person? And she designs the interiors of homes.
Right.
And I think the realtor was a little caught off guard with the question, but it really does matter because like you said,
what do you mean the realtor was caught off guard? What do you mean by that?
I think she was like, I'm not a visual person. I think she can do like just white walls and no personality in it. And she thinks people will go for it. Well, in Pearl, like it's in there, she adds all these amenities in there.
Right.
It's like night and day. And going inside one of those, like you said, just changing the bedspread is amazing, and just the wall.
We don't want to go as crazy as what some decorators might do, only because you're now becoming very personalized. So we try to keep it, what I'm very big about, straight lines. You don't want to see a lot of clutter. You don't want to see a lot of stuff. You know, like straight lines are very important to me. Not a lot of color, not a lot of things going on is really important, because when you come in, it might look great when you're in, but remember the first place people are seeing your home, online. You have 30 seconds to gain their attention. How are we going to do that? One thing I hate when I'm looking online and I have to click through 20 fronts of the house. I'm bored. I'm moving on. So people want to see, what does the kitchen look like? What does the bedroom look like? What does the bathroom look like?
Your realtor is the most important person, because she'll play the psychology of both buyer and seller. Depends on where she's at or he's at, because that's where it really begins for the seller, because they're trusting that this person is going to help them sell this house. And the buyer, they're investing the biggest investment they've ever done in their life, and you're relying on that one person. So psychologically, if she tells you this is what I see, listen to it, because that's really where it's at. She has the experience, she has the know-how. And this isn't just because it's Laura, I'm not saying this. Your realtor is the #1 person in this game when you're buying this.
But the problem is they're not all good. But we're running out of time.
Oh.
Next time we'll talk about the incompetence of realtors. And there is.
Why not?
I could tell you about some stories this past week. If you're looking for a top realtor, give me a call, Laura Sanders, RE/MAX Direct. And until next time, make it a great one.
Thank you for tuning in for Making Money with Laura Sanders, a name you can trust. To join the conversation, call us at the studio, 888-994-4995 Studio A, or contact Laura directly at 954-650-0827. Laura Sanders, a name you can trust. We look forward to seeing